Good evening and welcome to the Town of Ajax Committee of Adjustment meeting for Wednesday, December the 11th, 2024. This meeting of the Committee of Adjustment is being held in person in council chambers at the Ajax Town Hall and is being live streamed for public viewing on the internet pursuant to the Committee of Adjustment terms of reference in meeting procedures. If we encounter any technical difficulties, we may take a brief recess while they are resolved. We thank you for your patience and will now proceed with the meeting. For those joining us in person this evening, if you haven't done so already, I ask that you please complete the sign-in sheet at the podium if you wish to speak this evening to an application. Please include your email address when completing the form. I'll now call this meeting to order at 7:01 p.m. We would like to begin this meeting by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is situated within the traditional and treaty territory of the Mississaugas, more specifically the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation, signatories of the Gunshot Treaty of 1788 and the Williams Treaty of 1923. This land is and will continue to be home to the Indigenous people. Let us acknowledge the mistakes and traumas of the past through authenticity and support through truth and reconciliation. Let us engage and celebrate Indigenous communities by being leaders of action in acknowledging the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples and the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's recommendations towards truth and reconciliation. Let us keep these principles close as we continue towards truth and reconciliation and as we move forward with kindness and respect as a community. Moving on to our next item on the agenda, we have the disclosure of interests. So before moving on to the application portion of this meeting, I'd like to confirm whether there are any disclosure of interests from our members of committee. Tomas, who is joining us remotely, if you could just unmute yourself and let us know.
No conflict from my side.
Thank you. Moving on to our next item on the agenda is the adoption of minute meetings from our meeting from October 30th, 2024. At this time, I'm going to ask for a motion to accept and adopt those minute meetings.
Madam Chair, I move adoption of the October 30th Committee of Adjustment meeting minutes.
Thank you, and I'll need a second.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Tomas. All in favor? Moving on to our next item on the agenda, I'm just going to review the mandate of the Committee of Adjustment. The Committee of Adjustment derives its jurisdiction and authority from the Planning Act. The committee is responsible for considering applications which seek to authorize the following: minor variances from the provisions of the town's zoning bylaw, extensions, enlargements, or variations of the legal non-conforming use of any land, building, or structure, permit the use of any land, building, or structure for any purpose that, in the opinion of the committee, conforms with the provisions of the zoning bylaw, where the uses permitted in the zoning bylaw are defined in general terms. Consent to sever a new lot from an existing lot, consent to alter the existing boundaries of a lot, such as lot additions and lot line adjustments, consent to register rights of way and easements over land, consent to sell, mortgage, charge, or enter into any agreement for more than 21 years for the portion of a land, and validation of land title when there has been an error in the description of land. When considering minor variances, the committee is to assess whether the general intent and purpose of both the Town of Ajax official plan and zoning bylaw are maintained, the proposal is desirable for the appropriate development and or use of the subject land, building, or structure, and the variance is minor in nature. When considering consents, the committee must ensure proposals conform to the region of Durham and the Town of Ajax official plans and have regard to the matters outlined under the Planning Act. In all scenarios, the committee must ensure consistency with the in effect provincial policy statements and conformity with the in effect provincial plans. I'll now go over some housekeeping items with respect to tonight's procedure, how things will work this evening. The process for tonight's meeting will be conducted in the following manner. The applicant and/or agent will be called upon and at their option may provide a brief description of the minor variance and/or consent application that they have applied for. The committee members may ask questions of the applicant and/or agent, after which anyone with a direct interest in the application will be given the opportunity to speak either for or against the application. Once a motion is put forward by a committee member, there will be no further input from the applicant and/or agent or anyone having interest in the application. After a decision is made, notice will be sent out and there will be a 20-day appeal period. The decision of the committee may be appealed to the Ontario Land Tribunal or the OLT by the applicant or a specified person or public body as outlined in the Planning Act. Please note that third-party appeals, for example, appeals from neighboring landowners or members of the public, are not permitted. The decision will become final and binding if no appeals are received during the 20-day appeal period. If a building permit or other approvals are required, they may be filed during the appeal period. However, no permits or approvals will be issued until the appeal period is over and the decision becomes final and binding. A respectful decorum during this evening's proceedings is expected of all present at all times. Let me now take a moment to introduce you to the committee members presiding over the procedure this evening. Online, we have Mr. Thomas Baca, and to my right, we have Ken Elliott. And myself, Bernadette Santiago, who will be acting as chair this evening for the committee. To my left, we have town staff to assist the committee. We have Eric Simpson, the Supervisor of Development and Committee of Adjustment. We have Henry Sang, Secretary Treasurer, and we have AV Tech Support as well to assist us. We now will move on to the application portion of our meeting. The first item on our agenda is listed as 5A, consent application LD 09-24 and minor variance application A27-24 for 2978 Ebony Street. Eric, can I please confirm that notice was served and if any responses were received?
Notice was served and no responses were received.
Thank you. For the applicant and/or agent, staff have written a report recommending the approval of these applications, subject to the 8 conditions listed for the consent portion of the application and 3 conditions for the variance portion of the application. Is the applicant and/or agent present for this matter? Somebody online for this application?
My name is Yang Jin. I'm the applicant for the consent and minor variance application.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Jing, for joining us. Thank you. I just want to confirm that you've received a copy of the staff report.
Yes, I received the staff report and also the report from other agencies. I have reviewed the reports with the owner for the property.
Okay, I think you're referring to the external comments from the TCRA, the Regional Planning and Works, correct?
That's right.
Okay. I'll now open the floor to you if you want to speak to the application, if you have anything to share with the committee.
I can speak about the description of the consent application and minor variance application. The consent application is to severing a new 441.4 square meter residential parcel from the existing 2978 Albany Street. And the minor variance application is to maintain the existing dwelling on the existing parcel of land, which is going to be maintained. And there are some variances, including setbacks and location of the deck and some of the other variances related to the existing dwelling. We seek support from the committee for the approval of this application. I have discussed the application with the adjacent owner on Albany Street, and he has no concern with the application and also advised that his property was also divided in a similar fashion a number of years ago. And as part of the application process, we have consulted the town, the region, and the TRCA, and have made several changes to satisfy the staff related to TRCA comments. So we are in agreement with all the approval conditions. Thank you. We hope to have the support of the committee members.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Jing, for your comments. At this time, I'm going to ask if the committee has any questions for the applicant region. Tomas, do you have any questions?
No questions, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Is anyone in attendance here to speak either for or against this particular application? Going once, going twice, nobody. All right, seeing none, can I please look for a motion on we're gonna do this in a systematic way, so I'm looking for a motion on the consent portion.
Madam Chair, I move approval to consent to sever a new 441.4 square meter residential parcel of land from the lands municipally known as 2978 Ebony Street, retaining a 438.7 meter residential parcel of land, subject to the 8 conditions as indicated in the staff report before the committee this night.
And I'm looking for somebody to second that motion.
I'll second the motion, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Tomas. Any discussion on the motion? Doesn't appear to be any discussion. I'm now going to ask for a vote. And the results, as you can see on the screen, it has passed unanimously. Well, let's now move on to the minor variance part of this application. I'm going to ask for a motion to be put forward.
I would like to move motion, Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
So I move to approve minor variance application A27-24, subject to all staff conditions on the basis that it is minor in nature, desirable for the appropriate development and use of the property, and in keeping with the general intent and purpose of the official plan and the zoning bylaw.
Thank you. And can I get somebody to second that motion?
I will second the motion.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? No discussion. I'll now look for a vote. And that, as you will see on the screen, has passed unanimously. So, moving on to the next item on our agenda is 5B, and we have a consent application for LD 10-24 for 820 and 32 Denny Street. Eric, can I please confirm that notice was served and have any responses been received? I understand that this is purely administrative, is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. And just for the record, there isn't anybody here to speak on behalf of that matter, correct? Okay. Does the committee have any questions on this matter? No questions?
No question for me.
And to confirm, is anyone in attendance here to speak either for or against this matter? Nobody in attendance and nobody online. With that, can I please look for a motion on the application?
Madam Chair, I move that the Committee of Adjustment approve consent application LD 1024, requesting a certificate of validation over the subject parcels legally described as indicated in the staff report, being part of Lot 3, Part 6, Part 9.
And can I get somebody to second that motion?
I second the motion, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? No discussions. I'm now looking for a vote. And as you will see, that matter has passed unanimously. Moving on to the next item on our agenda, we have consent applications LD 15-24 and LD 16-24, and a minor variance application A 34-24 for 320 Audley Road North. Eric, can I please confirm that notice was served and have any responses been received?
Notice was served and no responses were received.
Thank you, Eric. For the applicant or agent, staff have written a report recommending the approval of both the consent and the minor variance applications, subject to the conditions, 6 conditions for the consent portion and 1 condition for the variance portion of the applications. Is the applicant and/or agent present?
Yes, here.
Thank you. And can I just confirm that you've signed in?
I will.
Okay, thank you. While you're doing that, if you could just confirm for me that you've received a copy of the staff report.
Yes, I have.
Thank you. And I'll now leave it to you to introduce yourself and speak to the applications, should you wish to.
Good evening, Chair, committee members. My name is Marve Kolchak. I'm here on behalf of our client, Peacock Holdings, Inc., Peacock Cattle Co., Inc., for the recommendation to approve the consent and minor variance application before you tonight. I'll give a little description of the 2 applications. For the proposed severance, we seek to create 2 modified parcels, whereas modified parcel 1 is to be developed for employment uses, and then modified parcel 2 would be for, would remain vacant. And then the proposed variances would be to permit 100% parking spaces between, along the front and exterior side yards, as well as allow 2 rows of parking spaces between a building and an arterial road. We have reviewed the recommendation report put forward by staff tonight and agree with the conditions imposed. And we will also confirm with our client that they're in agreement with the conditions. And we ask for the approval of the consent and the minor variance application. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Can I just confirm that I'm going to assume that you were in receipt of the external comments from CLOCA, Regional Planning, and Regional Works? Is that correct? And
Correct.
no concerns with respect to those communications, correct?
Yeah, no concerns. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do the committee members have any questions? Okay. Is anyone in attendance here to speak either for or against this application? In person, online? Yeah. Seeing none, I'm now going to look to my colleagues for a motion on the application.
Madam Chair, I would move to approve consent application LD 1524 and LD 1624, subject to the following conditions, of which there are 6 that are included in the staff report, and that there are lands to be added to parcel 1 and lands to be added to parcel 2, as outlined in the report.
Thank you. And now can I get somebody to second that motion?
I second the motion, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Tomas. Any discussion on the motion with respect to the consent portion of this application? No discussion. I'll now look for a vote. As you will see on the screen, that has passed unanimously. And now let's address the minor variance portion of the application. So I'm going to look to my colleagues to see if there's a motion that can be put forward with respect to that part.
Madam Chair, I move to approve minor variance application A34-24, subject to all staff conditions on the basis that it is minor in nature, desirable for the appropriate development and use of the property, and in keeping with the general intent and purpose of the official plan and zoning bylaw.
Thank you. And can I get somebody to second that motion?
I second the motion.
Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'm now going to look for a vote. And it has passed unanimously. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. All right, moving to the next item on our agenda. Items 5D and E, and I understand that these will be heard together. So that's minor variance application A28-24 for 25 and 27 Mandrake Street. Eric, can I please confirm that notice was served and have any responses been received?
Notice was served and no responses were received.
Thank you. For the applicant and or agent, staff have written a report recommending the approval of these applications. Subject to the conditions listed in the staff report, there are 4 conditions. Is the applicant or agent present?
Present.
Thank you for joining us. Can I confirm that you've received a copy of the staff report?
Confirmed.
Thank you. I'm now going to ask you to introduce yourself and speak to the applications should you wish to.
Thank you very much. I'm Sherry Lynn McDowell from SD Consultants, and I appreciate you guys hearing our case today. We're looking for relief from the required front yard setbacks. These triplexes have been designed for the homeowner to occupy the main floor and the basement, and rent out the other 2 units. This opens the door to more ownership opportunities that may not be available for some people at this time. Well, with that in consideration and design the building to allow for a family setting while maintaining the parking in the rear, we have exceeded the front yard setback. We believe that these housing developments help with the housing crisis we face while creating a new type of living that fits within the neighborhood. And so we'd just like to thank you for your consideration on this matter.
Thank you for your comments. Does the committee have any questions? No questions. Is anyone in attendance?
Question.
Oh, there's a question. Yes, Tomas, you have the
Just
floor.
a quick question for the applicant. So all the units are intended to be rental units or condominiums?
So the intention is that the main floor and basement will be home ownership, and then the 2 upper units will be for rentals, but they're not going to be condo. It's a be for rental.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Any other questions or discussion? Okay. Is anyone in attendance here to speak either for or against this particular application? Seeing none, can I please look for a motion on the application?
Madam Chair, I would move that we approve minor variance A28-24 and A29-24 as amended by staff to permit the following: a minor variance for 25 Mandrake Street as outlined in the report, and minor variance for 27 Mandrake Street as outlined in the report, subject to the 4 conditions as provided by staff in the report.
Thank you, and can I get somebody to second that motion?
I second the motion, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? No discussion. I am now going to look for a vote. And that has passed unanimously. Okay, moving on to our next item on our agenda, we have minor variance application A30-24 for 166 Delaney Drive. Eric, can I please confirm that notice was served and have any responses been received?
Notice was served and no responses were received.
Thank you. For the applicant and our agent, staff have written a report recommending the approval of this application subject to the 6 conditions listed in the staff report. Is the applicant and our agent present?
Yes. Hi.
Welcome. Do you have a copy of the staff report?
Yes.
Okay. Can I assume that you have no concerns with the conditions as
Yes.
listed? Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm now going to leave it to you to introduce yourself and speak to the application should you wish to.
My name is Gabriella. I'm the owner of my property, and I'm submitting a request to do a side entrance for my basement. And the purpose is just for personal use for my family to be able to access the bottom of the basement. And that's it.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Tomas doesn't appear to have any questions either. Anyone here to speak for or against this particular application? Doesn't appear to be any. Seeing none, can I please look for a motion on the application?
Madam Chair, I recommend that we approve minor variance application A3024, submitted by the applicant to permit uncovered steps leading to a below-grade entrance within the northwest interior side yard with a minimum setback of 0.1 meters from the northwest interior side lot, subject to the 6 conditions as outlined by staff in their staff report.
Thank you. And can I get somebody to second that motion?
I second the motion, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Tomas. Any discussion on that motion? No discussions. I'm now going to look for a vote. And as you will see, it has passed unanimously. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Have a good evening. All right, and moving on to our last matter in terms of our applications this evening, we have minor variance applications A31-24, A32-24, and A33-24 for 850 Riverside Drive. Eric, can I please confirm that notice was served and have any responses been received?
Madam Chair, notice was served and there was 1 response which was provided to the committee.
And I can confirm on behalf of the committee that that was received and reviewed by us. For the applicant and our agent, staff have written a report recommending the application subject to the 3 conditions as listed in the staff report. Is the applicant and our agent present? I see 2 individuals online. I'm not sure if you're here to, I assume you're here to speak to this application. If you can unmute yourself.
Mohammed, if you can hear me, there's a button in the middle of your screen there. If you press on that, that should unmute your microphone. Oh, you were just there.
Yep.
There we go. Yes, we can hear you. Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. I'm the owner for Lot 5.
Mr. Khan, can I ask you to just speak up just a little, I think the volume's a little low on your end.
Okay. Can you hear me okay now?
Yes, we can. Can I confirm that you have received a copy of the staff report?
Yes, I have.
And do you have any concerns with the conditions, the 3 conditions listed in the report?
No, I don't.
Okay, I will now leave it to you to introduce yourself and speak to the application should you wish to.
Sure. My name is Mohammed Khan. I've been the applicant, and I'm also the owner for Lot 5. This has so far been a straightforward severance application, but we had to go through some minor variants because of the lot coverage. City staff is very supportive on that. I would defer it to city staff for any further comments. If you have any questions, I'm ready to answer.
Thank you for those comments. I'm going to look to my committee members to see if there are any questions. All right, seeing none. At this time, I'm going to ask, is there anyone in attendance here to speak either for or against this particular application? Don't see anybody online. Nobody in the gallery except for one gentleman, but I'm going to assume he's not here for this. Seeing none, I'm now going to look for a motion on the application.
Madam Chair, I move to approve minor variance applications A31-24, A32-24, and A33-24, subject to all staff conditions on the basis that they are minor in nature, desirable for the appropriate development and use of the property, and in keeping with the general intent and purpose of the official plan and zoning bylaw.
Thank you. And can I get somebody to second that motion?
I second the motion.
Thank you. Any discussion on that motion? No discussion. I'm now going to look for a vote. And that application has passed unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Khan, for joining us. And that completes the application portion of our agenda. We're now going to move on to other business, new business. I look to my colleagues, to town staff, if there is any new business or other business. I'm seeing some heads saying no, shaking of the heads, no. Tomas, I'm going to assume nothing on your end.
Nothing on my end, Madam Chair.
All right, so moving on to the next portion of our agenda, which is adjournment. I'm going to look for a vote to adjourn today's meeting. Oh, sorry, yes, if I can get somebody to move an adjournment.
Madam Chair, I move to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, and can I get somebody to second that?
I second the motion.
Thank you, and now we will look for a vote. And that has passed unanimously. At this time, we can now adjourn this meeting. It is 7:34.